Hey guys, welcome back to the Paladins Alliance. We're back for the playoff stage of the Copenhagen Major. It's been an exciting bit of Counter-Strike going on right now. When you look at the elimination stage, we finally eked our way through. We got the 0-3 Mongols. You know, I actually didn't pick Furia. Yeah, I picked Pain. And honestly, not bad picks. Mouse went 3-0. FaZe went 3-2. And Virtus Pro should have won and failed in the 2-2 against G2. And Heroic surprisingly crashed out. They had a really bad showing against Pain. But it all worked out in the end. We got our 5, and we've got probably one of the best playoff stages we've had in a long time. I'm really excited with the bracket that we have here. And I just like to talk about it because you've seen everybody's pick'ems at this point. You know where pretty much my head's probably at and where most people's heads are at for this competition. I just like to talk about the shadow boxing between these 8 teams and see who can actually lift the trophy. I'm going to have Spirit actually winning it all. I do think that as of right now, they play the most consistent brand of Counter-Strike. Bar their gameplay on Vertigo, I do feel as though I'm seeing just elite level Counter-Strike, and it is truly not because of Donk necessarily, but I mean, while he is definitely a huge reason why they are so successful, they have this incredible system in place that I really do enjoy watching. Chopper is calling it a very efficient brand of Counter-Strike. You've got players like Zontix who and Magix who are really holding up their end of the bargain on the supportive side of things. And then you also have Shiro who's so stable for them right now that you can't really go wrong with this roster in really any way. That the matchup against FaZe, sure, it is theoretically a very tough matchup for them because you're going against veterans of the game, and you're playing within the Royal Arena where FaZe should be favored on a audience perspective. But the fact of the matter is I just feel like Spirit have already basically gotten rid of the demons by playing so well at Katowice that I don't think they really have any pressure to perform at this point. That I think that Spirit have what it takes to lift the major trophy. I think Donk will become the youngest player ever to lift a major trophy, and I think this is going to be one for the history books because I think we are truly witnessing history right now. But enough about them. I think you're probably more interested in the other matchups. Cloud9 Vitality is such an interesting one and probably the most contentious one out of the remaining 3 matchups. Well, honestly, all of these are contentious matchups. What am I saying? But Cloud9 Vitality is a very interesting one because I don't really feel too confident in either team right now because with Cloud9, you know what you're going to get with them. You're probably not going to have a big overperformance from any player. You're probably not going to have a superstar AWP in play. But on the other side of the equation, you don't know what kind of Vitality you're going to get on the day. You could get a Zywoo that's finally here to play and showcase why he's the best player in the world. You could have a Vitality who rely on players like Flamesy and Mezzy to get you through the games, which God help you if that's what you're trying to use to get you through these games. Or you get a well-rounded Vitality with players like Spinks showing up, Apex calling well, and Zywoo holding up his end of the bargain. And, you know, I do feel as though now that we're in this playoff stage, that Vitality, they might kick it into gear at this point and showcase that they can go deep at this tournament. And in all honesty, guys, I really want to see a Zywoo versus Donk semifinal. So I'm actually going to put Vitality to go through. And I've been thinking about Cloud9 to go through for a long period of time. But I do just want to get that bogey pick in there and say that, you know, Vitality will turn it on in the Royal Arena. They definitely do have the map pool to go toe-to-toe with Cloud9. Think about it, there will be no Ancient in play, which is really nice for Vitality. And C9 will ban out Vertigo, I believe. So it's nice for Vitality not to have 2 maps that could be potentially something that they could rely on. I don't know. I do feel as though Vitality should be able to get it over the line. And although Zywoo still struggled in playoff matches, his floor is far better than, you know, Perfecto or Boomich's ceiling as an opper, no matter what, right? So I do think that Vitality should take the edge. This will be a very, very close game, I think. I think this is like pretty much guaranteed to be a nail-biter. But I think as far as the vetoes go, as far as the floor these players on Vitality go, I'm just going to take them to go over the edge and give us that Zywoo Donk semi. So uh, let's go Vitality. Eternal Fire Na'Vi is a very interesting one because I was one of the few people, or actually not few people, but like one of the people that were like really championing Na'Vi to make playoffs, because I do think that Alexi B is calling a hell of a tournament right now. He's really squeezed water from stone from a lot of these rosters, a lot of this roster, in players like Bit, from players like Ime, who are theoretically not having the best of tournaments, but still getting the job done. And a huge part of that is JL. But when it comes to the playoffs, I do feel like individuals really have to be there and on their best form. And as of right now, Eternal Fire are just on one. And while, you know, I did say in the elimination stage, I had this issue with that when they were facing a little bit of pressure, they did crack against Heroic, but I'd honestly argue that in the elimination stage, they had even more pressure and they rose up to the task and then some. I really liked what they showed. You could actually check the route that they made it there. They beat Vitality in the best of one. They lost in a tight best of one against Mouse. They then beat FaZe Clan, which wasn't even close. This overpass was an absolute beatdown, and a win over Virtus.pro, a gatekeeper team, in the playoffs is always going to be something I rate very highly, and they did it off of Inferno as well, pretty handedly. So, map pool-wise, they go really deep. I look at players like Xantares, Wicadia, and Woxic, who really thrives in big stage games. You have a player like Calyx, who's really holding up the supportive end of the bargain, and that makes me really excited overall in Eternal Fire's gambit here at the major. And I do think that they will beat Na'Vi off of just that individual basis alone. Like, having those three players, Woxic, Wicadia, and Xantares, just firing on all cylinders right now makes Major's job as a caller very simple. And I do think that Brawn will prevail over Brains here, which is my main thing, that when I go into this matchup, I just don't think that Ime has had a good enough tournament for me to be really excited about him and Na'Vi as a whole. And I think that one underperformance from JL and this whole Na'Vi roster collapses like a house of cards, especially against the likes of Eternal Fire, where you have this T side just running at you. And frankly, Na'Vi CT sides have been pretty disappointing, and that could be a huge route of punishment there for the Turks. So I'm really excited for Eternal Fire, and I think they've done very well for themselves to at least make the semifinal of this major. I'm going to take Mouse in the bottom quarterfinal here. G2, I personally don't think deserve to be at this level of the competition. I don't think they should have beaten Virtus.pro. Of course, we all know what happened in that crash situation. And the more information that's revealed, the more you realize that they should never have been in contention of that final round, or second to last round, theoretically. And that collapse on Anubis probably wouldn't have happened. So, yeah, I think overall, G2 don't even deserve to be here. But they are. And they are a good playoff team. They do still show that they have some of the best cores, one of the best cores in Counter-Strike. But the fact of the matter is, Nico has been really disappointing at this major. He's had some very pedestrian games. He cannot take games over as he used to, at least for this tournament in particular. Whereas you look at the Mouse roster, they've got it all figured out right now. You know, the system is working with Shuhei. They found a way to slot in Brolin into those frozen roles, and he's getting his flowers now. He's still able to get you that aggressive playstyle when he needs to be, showcasing that very Fnatic-esque playstyle that he did have. You have players like Torzi, who still, you know, I'm never gonna actually really be that high on him, but he had some games where he just absolutely did take over, and he was a force to be reckoned with. He wasn't missing any shots, and I really have to respect that he's still showing a little bit of pizzazz to him. And I think Xerxion's taken it to a new level. So I do think that Mouse has really excited me in their entire run here. They had a great RMR. They had a great Legend stage as well. I am very excited to see this Mouse roster blossom, and I do have them going into the final, because while Eternal Fire does excite me in terms of their individuals, their calling style is very predictable. And as you saw when Mouse played against Complexity, where Complexity tried to simplify their game and not throw as many late round defaults into the mix. Nows are very good at reading that kind of a game style, and I think that Eternal Fire provides a very similar play style, and will not be able to really go toe to toe with how Shuhei likes to mid round call. That I will have Mouse going into the final, and it's no dig at the individuals of Eternal Fire. I just do think that the tactical side of Mouse plus the individuals on Mouse can stack up against Eternal Fire, whereas I feel like a Na'Vi don't have the individuals to match up, while the tactics might be a little bit superior as well. So you got a Team Spirit Mao's rematch of the 2-0 matchup in the RMR, which is really exciting because, you know, the fact of the matter is this Mao's roster has clearly shown an ability to beat the Spirit roster, but I do think that Spirit might be able to veto a little bit better. They still might be able to iron out Vertigo. And that's why I think I have Spirit winning it all, because I always will favor the loser of the team that goes into the rematch, always, pretty much, is because they have the tape of knowing what doesn't work and actually working on how to fix them. So this is my full bracket. I'm going to put it through and say that, you know, hopefully we can get 2 quarters right, get the gold, stay nice and sustainable here in these trying times. As you can see, I have a couple friends that are in the gold, and I'm praying on their downfall. I hope that they aren't able to get through with the diamond, but that's going to be it from me. And I think, in all honesty, this should do it for the Copenhagen Major and its content. We'll probably have some demo reviews and stuff rolling out. I do want to get some podcasts off the ground, so look out for that. But that should be it. So if you guys liked it, please enjoy, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and enjoy one of the most stacked playoff brackets that we've had in quite some time. Peace.